You know, I think Standing Rock touched so many of us in so many ways. You know, the world really looked at that moment, and it was a global teaching moment because that message, water is life. You know, and in our culture back home, the thunder beings, they're the ones that bring the rain in the spring, right? In our cosmology. And so, you know, what I was told in that moment of Standing Rock, when the whole world learned about Mní Wičhóni, they learned about connection to the sacred elements, about connection to the sacredness of place, and it moved people, you know, because they got connected and they got understanding in the most simplistic form. And so, you know, that teaching that water is life moved people to actually give a dang and to put their bodies on the line, you know, native and non-native alike.
I'm the 5th chief of my tribe. And we don't really call ourselves chiefs, but we borrowed that word. We borrowed that word because more of you guys know what that means. Because if I said, I'm a Tlahit, and Winnemem Wintu Tlahit, would you know what I was talking about? No, you wouldn't. And so I'm following a line of only 5 leaders who have been in charge since the taking of California. And the last leader before me, my Grams, was a woman chief too, and then myself. And we're not elected, but we're born into it. We are trained. We grow up with our constituents, have you mind, that they already know. We already know who the next chief is. And I think about that, it's like my Grams brought us through that Shasta Dam when she took leadership. Her dad, who was the chief before, died in 1938. And I think he died because of his heart. He had a heartache about the Shasta Dam. Nobody could believe they were going to put all those mountains underwater. All of those sacred things are going underwater. And he couldn't do anything about it. And so she took over in 1938 as the chief, taking that position. And she brought us through that time of heartache and post-traumatic stress, from the killings to the flooding of our land to trying to hang on to everything that we have. And so then I come along, right? And I take over in 2000. She's with me for 3 more years, and I think the next chief is also a woman. And I think there's a reason for that. There's a reason that we are all women chiefs right now in a row. We have to get through the water problems of the world and of our state and of our home villages. We have to do that. And so it's not an easy thing to do. And we're calling on everybody. You know, as the chief, I have a lot of things to do. You know, and now I'm reaching out to the world, asking and finding out and saying, are there other indigenous people and leaders around the world who are working on the same thing? Are you singing to the water? Are you going and walking around the lakes, you know, and what are we doing all together for the water around the world? We are salmon people. Most of California Indians are salmon people. And we are Pacific Coast salmon people, meaning that these fish are so miraculously sound in connection with the Creator that they only do things one time. And when they swim back upriver and they lay their eggs, they all die. They all die before the eggs are hatched. And then it's repeated. The little ones swim out, and they swim down to this estuary, and they change into saltwater fish. They don't say, you know, I'm a freshwater fish. I made a mistake. Here I am down here in the saltwater. I better swim right back up there where I come from. But they stay and they change. So we did a war dance on Shasta Dam to oppose the building of the Shasta Dam higher. And New Zealand responded. Our effort was to tell the world what's happening here to this small tribe, to this water system. Tell the world about that. And 87 papers around the world picked up the story, and New Zealand was one of them. And they asked us, Do you want your salmon back? It's like, what? You have our salmon? It's like, okay, where is New Zealand? And we had to go there and we had to dance for those salmon. But when we got there, the Maori people were so family-like, and they made it totally possible for us to do this atonement, do this dance for our salmon with them. And there's a film out there called Dancing Salmon Home. If you haven't seen it yet, that's the whole story about it. And when I looked at New Zealand, I thought, oh, that's an island. But even on that island, they have a mountain, Mount Araki, Mount Cook, the destroyer of the island, named that mountain. But Mount Araki has ice waterfalls. Only place in the world that our salmon survived. Everywhere they were sent, they died, except for New Zealand. And now New Zealand has one of the biggest economies based on salmon. That should be California. We should have the economy based on salmon, because if we did, our waterways would be beautiful. Our waterways would be clean. We wouldn't be struggling and fighting over these kinds of things that we are right now. You can join us in doing these kinds of things, because what they're proposing is not going to make more water. It's not going to make any difference in the way that they use it.
The Havasupai people, we're about 776 people left in northern Arizona in the bottom of the canyon. We were also pushed in there. We were originally on the Colorado Plateaus. We roamed that whole area from the San Francisco Peaks to Bill Williams Mountain to the Sligman area. We had a lot of territory. The Havasupai people are called Havasubaja, means Supai. Havasubaja means people of the blue-green water. That's why I'm dressed like this today in a big blue outfit. And I was teasing one of my friends. I say, "You can't miss me walking across. I'm really blue today." So, you know, my elders really taught me, if you're going to go out there and speak, you have to dress it. You have to walk it. You have to talk it. You have to sacrifice some of your life and your family. And that's what we've been doing, you know, sacrificing our time for the water. But you also have to listen. You have to listen to your surroundings. You have to listen to the water. Go sit over there. See if you'll hear something, feel something. So we have songs for these waters that flow through. And sometimes it could sing to you and you could feel it. If you don't hear it, you'll feel it. And that's what we feel, and that's what we're carrying here today as a message to all of you that are here today caring. You're asking about, what should we do? What can I do? There's a whole deeper purpose on why we're here. And I think the whole connection that we have today, right here, is the water, right here. And I think that's what really brings us together, is to saying, no more. No more contamination of the fish. No more contamination of our springs for our Apache people. No more contamination of the Havasupai waters from international mining companies coming onto federal lands. We're allowing that to happen as United States citizens, as you citizens. You know, you're allowing that to happen. Your Congress people need to hear your voice. But as far as the uranium mines, the international funded uranium mines live right above one of the largest groundwater aquifer in northern Arizona, called the Red Wall Moab Aquifer. And it's a huge lake underneath the earth that drains, a lot of the springs drain right into the Colorado River. And so these international mining companies that come onto federal lands, our Aboriginal territories, is taking uranium claims, and the United States is allowing that to happen. There goes your water. It just gets drained out. Mining, you all know how much water is used for any type of mining. and they're just going to strip that place apart. And so for the Havasupai, we're not just thinking about our 700 people. We're thinking about the future, and then we're thinking about all the people that are downstream that are going to be consuming all this water. As Havasupai, we're one of the last tribes in Arizona to declare our water rights. For many reasons is that we don't want to be given by the federal government, this is how much money, water, that you're going to get. And we didn't want to be a part of that. The Havasupai tribe is a very closed kind of a community. But in this 2018, this is the first time we're taking steps to claim our water. And it's going to be a long legal process. And I don't know how long that's going to take. Some tribes have taken 30, 40 years just to declare their rights to water in Arizona. There's 21 tribes in Arizona that are actively been claimed their legal rights to water, which affects the Havasupai, because we're at the headwaters of all the water that goes down the Colorado River. So the Havasu Springs drains into the Colorado, and the Colorado goes down and services Nevada, California, all the way down to southern Arizona, even into Mexico. Well, it used to go into Mexico, now it's dried there, So, and then the developments that are happening in the Phoenix Valley and the Las Vegas area, they're just sucking up the water like no tomorrow. Like they don't even think about conserving or anything. So that's pretty scary when you really think about it. What are they leaving? At least leave a little bit behind for somebody or something, but they don't think about it that way. I see that most of the folks in America now just live in the moment. We don't look at 50 years from now, 100 years from now.
For us, Mní Wičhóni, topa chana, water is life. And I tell people, young people, older people, if you don't understand that, just that basic concept, topa chana, water is life, I don't know what to tell you. Every day we use water. Give thanks for it, for every drop. Mní Wičhóni, a part of the Apache Stronghold, we went up to Standing Rock as well with our leader, Winsor Nosey, former chairman and councilman in St. Carlos. We went up there with gifts, and when you're on this right path of sacrificing yourself and feeding your spirit and you're away from home in your own community, because Oak Flat, Chichopetagotil is 44 miles off our reservation, which, they put us on. And it's hard, the battle, to wake up your own community, to tell people, Tuapachana, water is life. And when you fight for the water and you find that you're on the right path, the water will always bring you back that circle. And it will always make an impact on you. So with the Mní Wičhóni, it was an awful thing to see what was happening to brothers and sisters out there. It was awful to see what was going on media. It could break your heart. It was awful to see. And I know the sacrifice of it too in my own community. But the greatest thing that I know as Oak Flat spiritual fight is I can pray. Because right now our springs, our aquifers, they are at risk. A copper mine for just a little bit amount of copper. They want to get that when water is so valuable that you can never replace that damage back. And just like my sister was saying here, it's your veins. Negostan, Mother Earth. You have to look at it like that. What you put in your own bodies and what we're doing to Negostan, the earth, if you understand that too, you'll see the damage that we are doing to the Mother Earth. You put something in your body that's not meant to be, it will destroy that vein. And it's the same for the rivers and the streams and the oceans and the lakes here. Because when it comes down to the water, it impacts each and every single one of us. When you find that yourself to step out of being selfish, you realize that there's just so much to pray for. So much and so much to be grateful for and to continue to pray.
You know, let's continue to support each other in a good way, and let's continue to build that reverence collectively about our sacred elements that, you know, keep all life going. We got to protect water. Yeah. Thank you.